The video you are about to see, What to Expect at an Organic Farm Inspection, was created for producers who are not currently certified organic, for those who are farming organically but not opting to certify, for farmers who are interested in transitioning to organic, or those who would just like to know more about how an organic farm inspection is conducted. It is important to note that this is not a real inspection. The video inspection is staged for educational purposes. The mock inspections are being conducted with the cooperation of the producers. Each farm is a partner in the project. While most of the discussion will be factual about each farm, a few aspects have been changed to increase the opportunity for learning. The project was funded by the USDA National Organic Program. This is one of two videos titled What to Expect at an Organic Farm Inspection and What to Expect at an Organic Livestock Inspection. If you are interested in the topic of organic inspection but do not raise livestock, we encourage you to watch both anyway. Each video highlights different aspects of the inspection that will be useful to anyone seeking information about the process. The wooded geographic center of South Carolina is the city of Sumter. A few miles north of town, on West Burrington Road, is an organic farm of about 15 acres, with about 10 acres under cultivation. The farm, Acia's Farm, has been certified organic by Clemson University Organic Certification since 2003, but managed organically for many years before that. The farm sells at 7 different local markets in Columbia, Manning, and Camden, as well as the Midlands Mobile Organic Market. This is a project to get fresh vegetables into food deserts. Customers also stop by to purchase produce at the farm. The farm was started by Aziz and Fatia Mustafa in the mid-1970s. Today, Fatia, son Shahid Harris, and his wife are partners in the farming operation. The organic inspector for this educational video is Margaret Scholes, the executive director of the International Organic Inspectors Association and a veteran organic inspector of more than 25 years. The training video will include all elements of a real inspection, including records review, a production audit, and a system traceability test. The inspector will have studied the organic system plan and any organic system plan updates that the farm has submitted this year, related to crops grown, materials used, and farming practices that have changed since last year. The inspector will have drafted key points to cover during the inspection, based in part on the materials provided to them from the certifying agency. Most important, the inspector will be assessing the farm for compliance with the federal regulations under the USDA National Organic Program. The inspection starts with the opening meeting. The inspector will introduce herself to the farmer and begin the opening interview. She will explain the process of the inspection, detailing the things she wants to review and the order in which she plans to proceed. Together with the farmer, she will then review the farm's organic system plan update, clarifying any issues she has previously highlighted for discussion. After this, she will focus on the previous year's correspondence from the certifier, addressing any reminders or non-compliances and confirming that the operators have responded adequately.
So, Shahid, since this is my first time to the farm, I'm probably going to ask you some questions that you've told other inspectors. But just to get an idea of the operation, how long have you been farming here?
Most of all my life, because I grew up in a family farm. So
who does most of the farming? Is that you?
Well, the physical part of the work. So.
Okay, so you are the person that does the day-to-day farming operation.
Exactly.
Okay, but are there other people involved in the operation?
Oh yeah, we have in a co-op. This is SCF-Organic farm, but this particular farm itself is Acia's Organic.
And so, just to kind of go over the process, the paperwork that I received from the certifier is I received your system plan, and I have nicely filled out, by the way. But I do have a couple of questions about it, and I also received the letter that followed up the last inspection, and it mentioned one issue of concern, which it said it was just a comment about record keeping.
Yeah.
Kind of keep up the improvement process.
Yeah.
So to go over the process of what we do is I've received your system plan from the certifier. I've received that letter and the review letter for this inspection, and I've looked at that. I'll want to see that your system plan is actually what is implemented out here. So I'll be looking to see that your practices match the paperwork, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And we'll do a physical tour of the farm and we'll come back, and then I would like to look and understand your record-keeping system. But before we go out, can you tell me if you keep records, and how do you keep your records of your day-to-day activities?
What we do is we have a farm log. So every time that we go into the field, we do a log of what we did that day. So
I should have asked, I have a copy of your certificate, and I wanted to make sure that all the crops that are listed here are the crops that you actually plan to grow. One of the most common mistakes that people make is they grow a new crop and don't think about getting it on their certificate.
Yeah.
So I wondered if you could look at that and tell me if those are the crops that you're planning to grow.
potatoes, spinach, squash, tomatoes, watermelon, and
When we get back in and go through the records, all through the process, if I find anything that could be an issue of concern, that the certifier might come back with a non-compliance, I need to let you know. So if there's any information that's missing, or if there's any issues of concern that could lead to a non-compliance, should not be surprises to you after the inspection. During the closing meeting, we should go through everything. And sometimes I misunderstand something too, so that's a time for us to clarify that I've understood things correctly. And I might put down that you didn't do a seed search for your cover crop or something, and you might say, well, wait a minute, you never asked me that. So the closing meeting is really to make sure that my findings are to confirm the accuracy of that. The main reason that I'm here is to determine whether your system plan is complete, whether it's accurate, and to see if what I see is compliant with the National Organic Program regulation.
then a lot of the non-compliance, what they do is they keep you. A lot of people look at them as a bad thing, but what they do is like a corrective action where you can know how to improve or what's missing. Or a lot of times it's just be during the run of an inspection, you might miss something or you might not be informed or something. So people panic when they.
Yeah, because it'll just have something that, usually it's something that you just have a deadline and you have to respond to. So sounds scary, non-compliance, but like you said, it's really about improving the process.
Yeah.
Before we go out, I would like to know, could I take my camera out? Is it okay if I take pictures?
Yes, you would.
And you're aware that everything that I do is covered by confidentiality, so are there any questions that you have for me before we go out?
Not right on.
Okay, so I think the main question I have on your system plan, first of all, your map, because it's pretty straightforward. It looks like we came in I came in right here,
Yes.
and this, what are the buildings on the farm? This is the main house?
We have a main house, and then the building that we're in is a shop. So we use this for all our, our record keeping, and we have an office upstairs, and then.
Okay.
So where you're looking from the map this is Brewington Road right here where y'all came in. This is the road where y'all turn in. And the first field that you saw when you pull in
With the grapes?
with the grapes is right here.
Okay.
And that's, we have this map, and then we also have identifying map where it shows which field. Because when we.
Oh, great. I was hoping there'd be a map like that.
Yeah, it identifies.
Because this was hard to follow the field history from the map, because your fields are field 1, 2, and 3, and your field history looks like it's like letters.
This, but we have the diagram that we have on record.
Yeah, this is what will be more helpful, really.
But we have just like field A is 1.1 acre.
Right. One thing. And the other thing that I wanted to do is, before we went out, is to look at your input list and see if it's still accurate. I was not sure about whether you're using manure or not. And of course, one of the things we always look for with manure of any sort, if it's not compost, is whether the pre-harvest interval is being followed.
Yes, and we do a 120 day. So mostly.
So you do 120 for everything,
We do 120 for everything.
even though it could be 90 days for corn or something, but you just do 120 days. Can you tell me where we're going to find, what buildings will be involved in the inspection? The shop right here has the office?
We have a shop where it has, we store our seeds down here, and then we have office.
So
upstairs.
seed storage is something we could look at here,
Yes.
and the office is upstairs?
Yeah.
I'm not sure from the system plan, there's no post-harvest handling that happens here?
No, ma'am. There's but this farm is direct from farm to consumer. So it's no.
So everything you raise is sold directly to the customer,
Yes.
but not washed?
Not washed.
There was one question, because the copy I received from the certifier was actually black and white, and there was a comment about the label in the past.
Yeah.
And so if you're not doing any post-harvest handling, what kind of a label do you use?
This is a copy of the one that we submitted. This was a part of our non-compliance because we had to get the organic seal and then have the Clemson seal and then our DPI number.
And I think the one that I have, it shows certified by Clemson on the
Yeah.
back. I do need to look at that. Right here, sorry.
Yeah.
So it's got the Clemson logo, it's got the USDA logo, and this shows me the colors. Can you tell me a little bit more about what equipment I'll be seeing?
On the farm we have 2 tractors. They both John Deere tractors. We have a mulcher, which is it's like a reverse tiller. So that we have a plow.
When you say plow, a moldboard plow or a chisel plow? Or?
We have more like a chisel plow.
So what operations, kind of get an idea before I go out of what's your typical annual operation? Do you plant a cover crop on all the acres in the fall?
We plant a cover crop on most of the land in the fall.
It looked like you save a lot of your own seed.
Yeah.
And that's part of the heritage dry farming
Practice.
system?
Yeah.
It's a practice?
Yeah.
Are you going to have purchased any seed this year?
This is our seed record for this year.
I would like to look at that. Thanks for having it ready already. So would all of these be organic or most of them?
Oh, all of them are organic.
Okay.
That's the only type of seed that.
I see these are, I'm seeing a lot of organics. I'm just looking to see.
So every seed that we have, we order is certified organic.
And some of them don't say they are, so I'm just going to make a note. And so
Yeah.
when I look at the seeds and I'm seeing that the kale
Yeah. But when you see our seed storage, you'll be able to see the pack.
and the basil.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing a lot of organic seed. This is a high percentage of organic seed. We don't get to see all invoices that look like that. This really helps because now I know how everything is laid out. What crops? This is already planted. I noticed as I drove in.
Yes.
I see you have some perennials there. You have are they grapes?
Those are muscadine grapes.
I thought so. I'm looking forward to going out to see the fields.
That's good.
There is an exemption that allows the use of non-organic planting stock other than annual seedlings if organic planting stock is not available in the appropriate form, quantity, or quality. That would include the muscadine grapes and the
Is
asparagus.
this where you actually store your seeds?
Yes. We have them in the shop, and we have them in just like plastic containers, and then we keep them in the original packages.
It looks like you have a couple of different kinds. Could I look at them a little closer?
Yes.
So you must know which ones are which here, but these aren't the same.
Reddish ones are Modines, and then we have white sweet potatoes. And also, let me see, these are boxes of some of them.
So these are seeds that you've actually, oh, they're not all seeds that you've saved, but some of them are.
Yeah. You're welcome. Harvest done. So we keep kind of like a little note to ourselves of what day they were.
So it has the variety, the crop.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have date on it, but,
Yes, ma'am. Here we go.
oh, I see.
It has yeah, have that, and it have the date that it's harvest.
Make sure I put this back in the right one. This is it.
Yeah. This is the pesto basil, and then this is the bicolor sweet corn.
And of course, if they don't have it organic and you try to get it organic, you could still plant
Yeah,
non-organic.
you can still plant it.
So you're. But what I do see that I appreciate is I see 3 sources of organic seed companies that I know have organic seed.
Before any inputs can be used, they must first be approved by the certifier. The inspector must verify all inputs used. The inspector may also do an input-output balance to see if the quantity purchased makes sense for the amount that is reportedly used. One material review organization that approves inputs is the Organic Materials Review Institute. It isn't the only one, though, and some certifiers have their own review process.
It looks like your inputs are actually stored right here too.
Yeah, sir. What we have is a spinosad, which is an insect repellent. We have fish emulsion, which is like a fish mulch.
So this is the one that is, oh, this is on your system plan, 511 Alaska.
We also have deer and rabbit repellent, which is liquid fence. We use this in the run of the season.
How do you use this?
You can spray that around your. Well, we do them on a rag, where we just put a rag around the field, and what it does is sends off a scent that kind of like wards off rabbits and deers.
Okay. So you're not actually using it in the field?
No, man.
I,
It just,
this wasn't actually on your system plan, was it?
well, this is.
Oh, you just.
Yeah, this is the spinosad,
Mhm.
but this is for pest control.
But I mean, I don't think I saw it in your system plan.
I don't know. It should be.
We'll check when we go back
Yeah.
and before I leave. What type of pests does this work
This is
for?
good for like Japanese beetles, any type of insect. So we use this for just like small insects.
So the fish fertilizer and the maxi crop. Can you tell me how you use that? You don't foliar feed anything?
We don't foliar feed anything. We'll still do the same thing with this. We'll use it as all of our fertilizers go underground. So we'll do a trench, bed back over, and we'll run the fish emulsion under the ground and bed back over and then plant on top.
Do you also check with the certifier before you use?
Yes, ma'am.
'Cause
And
I think that's one of the places people make
Yeah.
mistakes is that they forget to talk to the certifier before they use the product.
yes.
So we will check when we review the system plan, make sure that's on your system plan.
Yeah.
Plants are actually started in here. You said most are direct seeded, is that right?
The majority of our seeds are direct seeded to the ground. We just use this as a way to do like maybe a jump on the crop, like something like tomatoes or eggplant, something that requires a lot of heat and that needs warm weather. So basil, eggplants.
So what's the soil mix?
The soil mix is a natural like organic soil seed starter.
Is that something that you buy or you make?
We buy.
So it's already ready to go. You don't have to mix it or add anything else to it?
It's already ready to go. So when your plant germinate, you'll have this would be your first leaf, but when you get your second leaf, then we'll transplant
First
them.
real leaf. I noticed that you have quite a pile over here of starting trays.
Yeah.
How do you clean those?
What we do is if we're gonna reuse them over again, we'll do soap and water and wash them off. Yeah.
Soap and water?
Yeah.
And this must be where your nature safe fertilizer is.
It's
The last of your inputs that I hadn't seen yet.
last of our inputs, and then we using this as storage for this input. So those are a pallet of the bags that we have.
Okay. When you're planting in here or planting in the field, how do you record when you plant and then when you transplant?
What we have is we have a plant schedule, and we also have a farm log of what we're doing on a particular day. So it'll be marked down in our planting schedule, and then we have a seedling planting schedule. So we have different schedules. We have a harvest.
And you brought the planting schedule with us, I think, out from. Could I see that right now to see?
Yes.
So the seedlings here would have been recorded in this.
We have the seedling schedule for this year. Like what we have now, we have 2015 seedling plant sheet. So this is what we'll go by when we plant seedling. So it has.
So I see, like there's a flat here there's peppers right there.
Yeah.
Would that be these peppers right here?
Let's check them out.
Right there. It says pepper jalapeno 4-1. Very good.
Yeah, jalapeno.
Right there.
4115.
So the fact that you planted peppers that day or whatever would be in your farm log.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks.
As the inspector walks the field, she pays close attention to the vitality of the crops, any insect damage, weed control issues, and evidence of soil health.
If we're going this way to look at the rest of the farm, one of the things I was interested in is the border over on the west side.
Yes.
And can you tell me what goes on over there so we can, before I walk over and look at it?
Well, over on the east side is the woods. This right here is a buffer zone too, and what it is growing back up in trees.
So all these trees that I'm seeing are actually the buffer zone?
Yes.
What's on the other side?
On the other side is just forest. So
Oh.
it's this farm is kind of like encapsulated in the
forest
Oh,
around
I
it.
couldn't tell that from the map. It wasn't
Yeah.
clear. It wasn't clear what was on the other side. That's a beautiful tree buffer there.
Yeah.
So this is field C,
And this is
and where does field
field
E start?
field E starts right at the corner.
The corner of the woods, right down
Corner of
here.
the woods.
And so what am I looking at right here? Is this still in cover crop?
This section right here is in cover crop, but the next field over is not in. It's a perennial, which is asparagus, but it hasn't grown up yet because of the weather.
Okay, good.
So
I wanted to see the asparagus.
Pest management.
Well, I noticed you're using deer repellent, and you got a deer stand, so you must consider deer a little bit of a pest.
Yes, that's our largest pest.
I'm looking at turnips planted on March 29. How is that recorded? Could we look in your record book and see
Yes,
your planting schedule?
this is. So this is in our planting schedule. This would be 2015
For field
field
C.
C planting schedule.
Right.
We have the dates and then we have each row numbered so that we'll know what row is which and what's planted on each row.
Okay.
But also we got a diagram that's on the back so we'll know that this in area C.
Oh, this is great. Because a lot of times it's hard to keep track when you have one row of turnips and one row of arugula.
Yeah, and then you have to,
So these rows correspond to these rows, right? The beds.
yes. 17, 16, so this should be the 15th row.
Okay, so this is row 15.
So if you go over, you will have,
Turnip, purple top, 329.
yeah.
Perfect. When these turnips get ready to harvest, can you tell me how they get harvested and
I can do
packaged?
a small example of, let's say we have the turnips have already bulbed out and are ready to pick. What we would do is pick the turnip, just break the dead leaves off if there's any dead leaves, and take them off there, and then we'll bunch them at that time.
leave the tops on?
Leave the tops on. But the name of the soil is loomy clay. So even like on a rainy day, it wouldn't be a muddy operation.
I'm amazed at how it's not mud.
And then it's spongy too. So, and then where we have them on the raised bed, your tap root can go down and get a lot of nutrients out of the soil.
Before we go back up here, if it's okay, I'd like to just go walk this border over here because it seems like it's probably the one that's where you've had to do the most management.
Yeah.
Are there houses over here?
There's our next neighbor is, you can see the house through the woods, but that's our neighbor.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind, let's just go walk that.
Yeah.
I'm glad the rain has stopped now.
Buffer zones avoid contamination from neighboring properties and county regulations that are beyond the grower's control. The regulation requires, quote, buffer zones adequate to prevent unintended contamination from prohibited substances. The inspector is likely to be the only person from the certifier there on site, so he or she should always take the time to look at all buffers where there is a risk of unintended contamination, including drift.
And how about weed control?
Weed control, what we have is what we call an aeration hole. It's kind of like what they call a stair hole. So
This is a hand tool?
It's a hand tool.
Is it like a hula hole?
Yeah, like a hula hole.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll just scrape. And what that does is, we used to chop with a regular, manual hoe.
Mm-hmm.
But since we've been working with like the hula hole, what it does is kind of like scrapes under, and then when it gets
Stirs
under,
up those little roots.
it takes up the roots instead of just chopping the tops off. So that's been working real good.
Well, I see people are coming for your workshop, so maybe we can go in and finish with the last of the records?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
The records review is part of the inspection that can be complicated and tedious, both for the inspector and the producer, if the producer is unprepared, or if the records are confusing or incomplete. Inspectors verify practices by operator interview, observation, and review of records. A review of records covers record keeping across the whole operation. Records are maintained to show traceability, but this is not their only purpose. They help the inspector verify that the system plan is accurate. Inspectors will usually perform one or more traceability tests to see if the system is working from purchase of seed or input through to sale. So I've seen parts of your record-keeping system, and I think I understand it, that you have a seeding list that's just chronological, that you keep as you plant everything in each field.
But what we do is we do daily logs.
Oh, here.
Here is our log for Asia Organic Farm. So it has field A planted broccoli plants 3, 8, 15. They have bed 2 collard seeds 3, 10, 15. So we have the different beds off of field A, and each one we have identified as what field it is. So we have field A, spinach plants in the broccoli bed. So
And this ends up going into the computer.
this
but
goes
it
into
hasn't been.
It hasn't been. So this is where you go into the actual field and you kind of like making a hand note as you go
Yep.
along.
So what happens at harvest? How is that a manually kept record, or how?
That's kind of like a manually kept record, but what we're doing with this year, we're putting that into the computer. But we also have
For the first time.
we have a sales book. So like when we do, this is like 7/2/14. It'll say 13 bags of Bloomdale spinach at a half pound per bag, which is 6.5 pounds, harvested from field A on 4/13/2015. So from there you will have an idea of what came out, and then
But this is from the computer, right? How does it actually get recorded? Is this
that's a computer. That's the report, but.
actually? This is something I was going to ask to see. This is actually the maintenance for the highway.
Yeah, those are our letters from where we wrote the Department of Transportation. Then we deployed the maintenance engineer, and then we have the Sumter City Government Department of Public Safety. So we wrote them for the mosquito spraying, so we don't have mosquito spraying. Black River, they control the power lines.
The inspector chooses spinach for the traceability test.
Here it goes.
I
This
hear
is
seeing some spinach.
Yeah, USC Healthy Farmers Market. That was Tuesday, April the 14th, 2015. So
So you sold spinach, kale, a little spearmint.
soap
Mostly-
and kale.
So these are all the individual sales that happen. I'm impressed with that. So every time you sold spinach or kale,
We
you
have
actually wrote it down how much you made for that.
yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
and
So
this $3 represents how much spinach?
that represents like one bunch of spinach.
Okay, is it like a half pound or
It's about a half a pound.
so about a half a pound?
See, we identified what it was.
Oh, okay. So how much you put in a bag at half a
Yeah,
pound?
half
So
pound.
here's where you sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bags of spinach,
Yeah.
and you harvested 13 bags. This is
Yeah.
where 5 of them got sold.
Yeah.
So that's the harvest sheet. This is the sales sheet, and yeah, and that's
That's
simple,
the
but it
last-
works.
Inspectors will also complete an in-out balance for at least one input or one crop that was produced to see if what is being sold as organic is reasonable for the system.
So we end up harvesting like 400 and something.
468 according to
Yeah.
what you sold. You
Yeah.
probably used some too. So, and then if we went back to your planting schedule, we could see how many row feet of watermelons you planted.
Yeah.
And how much of an acre did you have?
We had an acre. We had. I think we.
So it was about an acre of watermelons.
Yeah.
Which is close enough for me.
Yeah.
If you had about an acre and you harvested 468 watermelons,
Yeah.
and the average yield is 2,000, I'm not going to worry much for
I
it.
see.
I'm impressed with what you've done to change the record keeping.
Yeah.
And actually it was very traceable. The planting, it's simple, but it works.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do is just have a few minutes to organize my thoughts and make sure that I don't miss anything in my notes. And then I have this document of inspection, the exit interview document that we need to fill out, or I need to fill it out, and I need to review it with you with the findings. And there are not a lot of findings to go through, but I do need to make sure I don't miss anything.
The last step of the inspection is the exit interview. This is where the producer can ask any questions, confirm any updates to their organic system plan, and clarify any issues identified by the inspector or the certifier as potential non-compliances or items requiring that additional information be sent to the inspector or to the certifier. The producer is responsible for updating their system plan. The inspector is responsible for verifying changes made by the producer and making sure the producer has amended their organic system plan to show the changes made.
The purpose of this, as I said when we began, is just basically to make sure that I got things, understood things correctly, and that I'm reporting my findings correctly. So I need to review with you I would just like to commend you and your family on the whole operation. The soil is obviously in really good condition, and after 30 years of farming it, you must have seen some changes over time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really nice to see so few inputs being used. In your system plan, I didn't find this spinosad, and I'm wondering if maybe I don't have a current list of inputs, or maybe you forgot to add it to your input list. Okay, see, these are the only inputs I knew about when I reviewed the plan. It's fish emulsion, seaweed, or nature safe.
Yeah.
And so, compliance.
Oh, no.
But I did just want to review one thing from the regulation with you, and that is in 205 400F, that people must immediately notify the certifying agent concerning any change in a certified operation or any portion of a certified operation that may affect its compliance. But I'm just reminding you to make sure that your system plan is complete, and if there's a missing product like that you want to make sure that Clemson has it in their plan.
Yes.
So I'm not sure right now whether they do. If this looks right to you, then this is the only finding that I had. If you would sign this.
Oh, okay.
So what happens now is I have a few days to submit my report to the certifier, and they'll get my report, and somebody there will review it and decide if there's any if certification can be continued. So it's probably going to be at least a month before you hear from the certifier. It might be longer than that, but you will hear from them, and they'll send you an updated certificate if there's any crops added. There weren't any today that I could see, and they'll send you a copy of the inspection report and a letter that lets you know if there's any non-compliances or issues of concern or things that they want you still to send in. So, do you have any questions for me? If you do, here's my business card.
Yes.
But the next people you'll be hearing from is probably the certifier, not for me. But that's in case you need to get a hold of me or anything comes up. Thanks so much.
Aziz Mustafa was a co-founder of Asia's Organic Farm, the first farm to be certified organic in South Carolina. He was also the founder of SCF Farm Marketing Cooperative. Aziz enthusiastically accepted the opportunity to host this organic education video production on the family farm, but the week before the video shoot began, Aziz unexpectedly passed. This video is a testament to his extraordinary leadership, farming knowledge, and his lifelong commitment to teach others about organic farming.
This is something that we have done for years and with love. We love the community, we love teaching people. You know, get back to the natural way of doing things.
As far as cost goes, I think that much of that is actually a myth. We hear people say all the time, it costs thousands of dollars to get certified, and it doesn't. Cost share is a USDA program where they allocate money to the states and South. You are eligible to receive 75% of your organic certification costs back, and that goes up to $750 per scope. So if you have both a livestock and a crop scope, then you could potentially get twice that much money.
And if you are actually a farmer that's farming, keep yourself some good records, keep yourself a daily log, keep yourself a script of what you're going to be doing, and work with a plan.